Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 things that you need to consider if you're looking to buy a lake house, particularly on Lake Tuscaloosa. So we are very fortunate in this area to have a great body of water that provides over 40 million gallons of water to Tuscaloosa businesses and residences. And if you're looking to move to this area and you're considering buying a lakefront property, hopefully this video can help you out. Hey guys, if you're watching this channel, there's probably a good chance you're looking at buying some property in Tuscaloosa. Maybe you're looking to relocate to the area. You know, I've been living here most of my life, and I've been in the real estate business for a good portion of that life. And we spend a lot of time on the lake. We don't live on the lake, but my wife and I go to the lake a lot. We take our kids out there a lot. We fish in tournaments. You've probably seen the video on my channel of me and my son doing a fishing tournament together. They have a tournament every Tuesday night and every Friday night on Lake Tuscaloosa during the warmer months. If you're watching this channel, you're probably looking for some advice. Feel free to reach out anytime. I am literally talking to people every day who are watching these videos, who are looking for some advice, that are at least thinking about moving to this area. My contact info is all over this page. Feel free to book a call, hop on a video chat with me, and ask me any questions you might have. I would love to help you decide to move here, or maybe decide that this is not for you, okay? So feel free to reach out anytime. And you know, while you're at it, if you're getting some value out of these videos, go ahead and click that like button for this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and go ahead and hit that bell so that you get notified every time I make new content. They tell me that helps me out somehow, some way. The first thing you need to think about when it comes to buying a lakefront property is the restrictions, okay? Now, we have people here, there's a couple different types of restrictions, but short-term rentals is a really big thing in Tuscaloosa. Don't know if you knew this or not, but we have the University of Alabama here in town, Roll Tide. And we have clients who rent their houses out for those 7 home game weekends. And they leave for the weekend, they go a couple hours up the road to Nashville, maybe they drive down south and they go to the beach, maybe they go visit family, but they rent their house on Airbnb or VRBO, and a lot of them make enough money on those 7 home game weekends to pay the mortgage payment all year. So if you are considering that, even if you're just remotely considering that, you need to make sure that the property that you're buying is in an area that allows that, okay? The other type of restriction is the type of home you can put on a piece of property. If you're looking to buy a piece of land and build a home, depending on where the property is, what neighborhood it's in, there may be a minimum square footage. The house plans might have to be approved by the HOA. And so that's another type of restriction to think about on lakefront property. And the third type of restriction is on your boathouse or on your dock, or both. You may have to submit those plans to the city of Tuscaloosa as well as your HOA, and it may have to meet certain specifications to add a boathouse or a deck before you get to that point. So if you're looking at a house that has a deck and a boathouse already, you're probably good. But if you're wanting to make modifications or make it bigger and better, that might be something for you to consider, okay? So the second thing you need to think about is the type of lot. So on Lake Tuscaloosa, we have a lot of the higher end homes and a lot of the higher end neighborhoods that are on the lake are actually like really high up off the water. So you've got this house way up high overlooking the water. It's amazing and it's beautiful and it's awesome for sunsets or sunrises, but it may be difficult to actually get down to the water. So there are some houses on Lake Tuscaloosa where there's 100 or 150 or more steps to get from your house down to the water, okay? So going up and down 100+ steps with a cooler, with kids, with your chair, with a radio, with a snack, again, just something to think about. We have a lot of people though that they like that high view of the water. They like being able to see over everything, and maybe they don't go down to the water quite as much, okay? We have a lot of folks that are, a little bit older, and going up and down the stairs is a no-no for them, but they might do it just a couple times a year, maybe once a week, and they're not going up and down, up and down, up and down chasing kids, okay? So that might work for them. We also have lots here on the water that are super flat, where you don't have any steps going to the water. You literally walk out your back door and you walk through the backyard and you can literally go jump into the water. So those are things to think about when it comes to which kind of lot you want to go with on Lake Tuscaloosa. The third thing for you to think about is what type of view of the water you want. So some people want that big water view. You can look off, your back porch, or you can be down on your boathouse and you can just see tons and tons of open water. And you can see all the pontoon boats coming by and all the jet skis and all the bass boats and all that kind of stuff. I would say that big water view is the more desirable view when it comes to lake properties. But some people also like being kind of back in the slough, back off of the main channel of the lake where jet skis aren't coming and going. It's a little bit quieter. You can jump off of your pier, your boat dock, and you can just swim back there without having to worry about boat traffic coming by. But that's something to think about. There are houses that are listed on Lake Tuscaloosa that are just barely on Lake Tuscaloosa. Like, you might not even be able to get a boat dock and park your boat behind your lakefront house, depending on how shallow the slough is and how much water you actually have. So that's one thing to consider as well when it comes to lake properties. The fourth thing to consider on lakefront properties is which direction the house faces, okay? So in case you didn't know, the sun rises in the east. So if your house is facing the east, you're gonna see the sun coming up. All right, I'm looking out this big window here at the office. If that is east, which it is, by the way, the sun's gonna be coming up and you are gonna see some amazing sunrises. You also are gonna have more sun on your property during the first half of the day, okay? Maybe till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun starts getting overhead, then it starts going to the west. If your house faces the west, you're gonna see the sunsets, and you're gonna have probably a little bit more sun on your piece of property in the afternoon. So if you're more of an afternoon lake type person and you want to lay out, again, depending on how the property faces, this may not even be that big of a deal. But for some people it is. There's not a ton of properties available on the lake all the time, at any given time anyway, so you might not be able to pick and choose. But for you, this might be a deal breaker, so I'd like to at least point it out to you. Some people don't care. Some people are like, I don't care, man, I'm on the water. I can go down there and I can put my boat in, I can go ride my jet ski, I can go swim. I don't really care which way the sun faces, but it's at least something to consider. There are some properties that get those beautiful sunset views, those beautiful sunrise views, and then some of them just have awesome views of the water. But you might want to at least consider it when looking for a lake property. Number 5 is the boathouse / deck. Could have both. Some houses on Lake Tuscaloosa just have a boathouse. They have one of those gentle sloping level lots that goes down to the water, and there's no need to have stairs or a deck overlooking the water. But I did not really realize until really recently. I had a client buying a property on the water, and some issues came up on the home inspection about the deck and the boathouse. And this one was not one of those really high views, but it also wasn't like super duper level. It had a deck overlooking the lake, and there was a couple small stairwells going down. And the quotes that we were getting to replace that dock were anywhere from $100,000 to $140,000. So when you're looking at a house that has a really nice deck, has a really nice boathouse, that is a big plus, because if that thing is new or if it's in really good condition, then you can probably buy that property going into it knowing that for years and years you're just going to be able to enjoy it. But if you go to a property that's 20 plus years old, the deck's been out there in the Alabama sun baking and getting rained on for 20 plus years, these things only last so long. So it can be very expensive to replace them, especially steep stairs. I mean, these guys charge extra because it's super hard for them to go rip out what's there and then just get the lumber to that mountainside cliff to get those stairs put back up. And it's going to take them a lot of time. It's going to be a lot of work, and they're probably going to have to get a boat in the water down there to bring lumber in, and that same boat's going to take out the old lumber. So when you're looking at a property that already has a boathouse or a dock or a deck, just look at the condition that thing's in, because eventually that thing's going to have to be replaced. It's not going to last forever. It's not going to last as long as a house would. So when you're looking at a property, that is a big factor to look at. If you're buying a piece of land and you're looking to build a house on it, pricing that into the price of the house is also something you could consider. You'd hate to go into it just laser focus on your house plan and what your house is going to look like, and not factor in the cost of adding that boathouse, that deck, or having both. Number 6 is having a good real estate agent, okay? Somebody, I'm going to toot my own horn here, but I've been living here a really long time. Grew up here. We spend a lot of time on the water. We do not live on the water, but during the warm months of the season, we are probably on the lake 2 or 3 times a week. So my kids love swimming. My wife loves fishing. Her name is Jill. And there's a professional fisherman called Bill Dance. We call her Jill Dance because she can catch some fish. We'll go drop the kids off at my mom's house, and we'll let them spend the night with Nene. And me and her will go put the boat in, and we'll fish till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So we are on the water a lot. I know every crook and every cranny of the lake, every neighborhood on the lake. I can tell you pros and cons. And a good agent is there to help you get what you want, not to push one house on you or one neighborhood or one price range, okay? But when it comes to a good agent, my son plays video games. He finds these games online and he plays it and he makes it look easy. He hands the controller to me. Dad, you take a turn, and in 10 seconds I'm dead, okay? I didn't know the bad guy was gonna jump up, 10 seconds into it, but he did. Now, he's not smarter than me. He's just played that game longer than I have. So I'm not smarter than you. A lot of people are way smarter than me, but I've been playing this real estate game for a really long time, and I want to help you avoid that bad guy that might jump up 10 seconds into the game. Number 7 is the development that you're going to buy into. There's not a ton of new construction developments on Lake Tuscaloosa, but there are a few. And when you buy into an established development, you kind of know what you're getting. But in times of uncertainty, and we've certainly had big inflation over the last few years, interest rates going up and down, sometimes on these new developments, whether they're on the lake or somewhere else, sometimes these developers will come in with grand plans of paving the streets and putting in gutters and putting in light poles. And then the market starts to slow down, and so they pump the brakes on that development. So if you're going to buy a lake house in one of these newer developments, just know that may be, a possibility that it could happen. And eventually it will get finished and the market will come back, but you could go years and years and years of having, a bad road leading into the neighborhood, bad curbs, no street lights in the neighborhood. It's not a really big thing to hear, but I think it's something that you also ought to consider when looking for a Lake Tuscaloosa property. So that's 7 things to consider when looking for a Lake Tuscaloosa property. Guys, if you're watching this channel and you're looking for some help, you're looking for some guidance, feel free to reach out. I talk to people every day about buying property in the Tuscaloosa area, and I'd love to help you do the same.